reached a point where a gunman literally called me. He said, Miss, I do not know your daughter, but your daughter transformed my life in the most positive way. He said, all my life I thought my gun was my only protection, but it is your daughter who caused me to know otherwise. We gave birth in 2010 to Jerodene Bailey, and she was born an active child, up and about everything and active at sports day at school and stuff like that. Till I think it was late 2014, that's when Chip V came about, and she was just feeling some pain. And her having all of those pain, and we thought it was Chip V, and even though we thought it was Chip V, we didn't settle with it. We basically took her to a regular practitioner. When we went to the regular practitioner, we explained everything to him, and he said to us that it's chikungunya that she has. So he said, listen, just give her some Panadol, give her a lot of liquid and stuff like that, and everything will be fine in a matter of days. But after a while, yes, we gave her the medication and things started to take a turn for the better. But within another few days, the pain, they were more severe on Jerodene's path. She was at the age of 4. Yes, she was just in basic school, right? And just as though we were there and the pain, eased off for a while, she started having some high fever. And the fever, it was like very high. So what we did, we, sponged her down and everything like that. After a while, she started complaining for pain in her neck. Now, when you're behind her, calling her, she had to turn the entire body around. The neck couldn't turn left nor right. So we didn't settle with that either. We went to the Mandeville Regional Hospital. And when we went there and we told the doctors about her experience and stuff, the doctor looked at me and she was like, Mrs. Bailey, she has muscle spasm. That's what she said, that Jerodene has muscle spasm. And, in other words, we call it crick neck. So she said, listen, it's something simple, something minor. I'm just going to prescribe like a Voltaren to basically anoint the area and she will be fine. That we did. After a few days, everything was going well. We were getting her ready for school one morning when I realized that she had a lump in the back of her left calf. And when I called my husband and I said it to him, and he was like, Rasheda, no, we have to take her to the doctor immediately. So that's when we went to a pediatrician. And when we explained all of Jerodene's symptoms to her, she said to us, listen, she said to us that she haven't had any experience like that before, but she's going to send us to do some blood tests. When we did the blood test, I remember one of them particular was the ESR. And we were told that anybody does the ESR blood test, it's supposed to be between 10 and 20. Unfortunately, when Jerodene did hers, it was at 122. That's when the doctor said, listen, maybe she has some infection in her body or something. But she said, listen, I'll give you guys a referral to take her to the University Hospital of the West Indies. And when we went there on that particular Wednesday, I went there with an open mind to say, you know what, a country, me I come back a country, so they need for me case and, just for assess her and send us home, because we had no idea that her sickness was so severe until when they did the biopsy and they did the all different type of tests, the ultrasound, X-ray and everything, and they came back and said, listen, Jerodene has stage 4 rhabdomyosarcoma. My husband and I, we were there because, as I said, he's always been there from day one. And when we heard that news, it's like we were sleeping. And you sleep, you're in a dream and you really want somebody to kind of shake you and say, wake up. That's the type of feeling that we had. They said, listen, we have to start right now with some chemotherapy drugs. No, we were nervous because we knew not what to expect. So we said to the doctors, I said, listen, you know what? If you guys are going to give her the chemotherapy, don't give her like the full blown, just, gradual, just give her a little, because it was such a hard road. And when we said it to the doctor, she really understood what we were saying. But after a while, Miss Brown, we realized that Jerodene was just happy up and about just the same. So, a lot of prayers were going up as well because we are Christians. We attend the Bombay New Testament Church of God. And when we heard that, we called the pastor at the time asking for prayer. A lot of persons were basically asking for prayer for God to heal her, not knowing that healing would have come maybe in two different forms. You understand, God literally healing her for her to share her testimony with others, and the other healing for him to just take her out of the pain. It was difficult for her to go to school, but she was just so adamant. She was like, Mommy, I really want to go to school. I need to go to school. And we had to explain to her that, Jerodene, you will go to school, but in a matter of time. Because with the treatment, sometimes she was admitted for 4 months without staying home. And I would be there with her while her dad would be here with her little brother at the time. You understand? And it pained her heart so much because she would have seen, whenever time she would have gotten discharged and reached home, a few of her friends would have come and looked for her, and she would feel so down because she was like, Mommy, no, I should be going to school. And even when she was diagnosed, we went to sports day, and that child was adamant. She said, Mommy, I need to run. I want to run to represent my house. And even at that time, before that, the doctors had told us that she's vulnerable to broken bones. But it's like there was nothing to her, no sickness in her. It's like it was just keep going and going. My husband was home, and I was at the hospital with Jerodene at the time. And a few days before that, she had gotten so weak. Her feet were swollen, her hands were swollen. She wasn't talking, none whatsoever. And I remember I stood there on a Saturday morning. She was stringed all over. She had the NG tube and everything like that. And I remember the particular Saturday morning when my husband was home and I was at the hospital with her. She was there for a while. And just as how I left her bedside and I came back, I realized that she took a deep breath. And when she took that deep breath, it's like something dawned on me, but I just still didn't see death at the time. And I counted how many seconds. It took her 21 seconds for her to take another breath. And I rushed and I said, Nurse, listen, come, there's something wrong with Jerodene. And she ran out and she ran on the other ward to call the rest of the doctors, and they came, and that was then I realized that she was going. They started to resuscitate her. I stood at the bedside, and because the December before that, she said to me, she said, Mommy and Daddy, I have something to ask you. I said, what is it, Jerodene? She said, Mommy, you and Daddy promised to be with me to the end. And we looked at her. We said, what do you mean to the end? She said, Mommy, you and Daddy already know what I'm talking about. So I guess she saw the death that we didn't see. And when I stood there the Saturday afternoon with her, and the doctors were saying to the doctors were saying to the nurses, listen, take Mommy house. And I said, no, I'm not going anywhere, because we promised to be with her to the end, wherever the end may take us. And I remember they were there resuscitating her, and it was just nothing. The doctor said to me, Mommy, if we go for another 5 minutes and we hear nothing from her, then we'll have to call it quit. And they did it, and 5 minutes was off, and Miss Brown, nothing from Jerodene. She lived 7 years. But persons would say 7 going on to 70. It reached a point where a gunman literally called me. He said, Miss, I do not know your daughter, but your daughter transformed my life in the most positive way. He said, all my life I thought my gun was my only protection, but it is your daughter who caused me to know otherwise. He said, listen, I have never owned a Bible because I didn't see any need to own a Bible. He said, but it is your daughter who caused me to walk in a bookstore and buy a Bible. He said, listen, I met in an accident, and the doctors told me that I will never walk again. He said he looked himself in the mirror and he said, listen, if Jerodene can do it, then so can I. A lot of lives have been touched through Jerodene's journey. So even after her passing, when we have all our videos, all our pictures, I said, listen, you know what? Let's create a page on Facebook. And my husband and I, we created a page on Facebook where we have over 13,000 followers. on it now, viewing her videos, and persons are just reaching out to us and say, listen, we can't believe that we haven't known this child all along. And even though she has passed, she's still touching lives. When Jerodene, it was after she was buried, when my husband went to work, our son had gone to school, I was alone behind these four walls, and sometimes just tears would be just flowing, because it's like I just couldn't contain myself. I just lost a daughter. My husband and I, our first and only daughter. And that's when it dawned on me. I said, listen, I need to go find back that book. And I went, Miss Brown, and I found the book, and I started to write. Because I realized that in writing, I was actually healing at the same time. You understand? And with the help with prayers going up and everything, we were able to finish and complete our book. The book is entitled The Journey of Our Warrior Princess Jerodene Bailey. And we are so happy that a day before Jerodene's birthday, we were able to publish this, our first book. So everything about Jerodene, from conception to when she transitioned, everything is just in this book. The book is available on Amazon. The book is for $3,500 Jamaican dollars, yes. And for persons who are living overseas, it's $25 US. No, it's not as rough as how it was before, because we're learning to cope not having her here. Because even persons who are maybe they lost their kids and they're reaching out to us for encouraging words, and we're going through the same thing. But at times we just have to put ourselves aside and just focus on others and try to help as much as we can.
Do you have any advice for other parents with children with cancer?
Yes, I do. For parents who their kids are diagnosed with cancer, listen, my husband and I, we know exactly what you are going through, and it's not an easy road. And with God, and I said with God, because listen, we have to put him at the forefront of our lives. And nobody else can help us but him alone. And once we pray to him, having faith, sometimes the outcome is not what you want, but it's what God sees fit for us. You understand? So if your child is diagnosed with cancer, just love them up, just give them all the attention that you have. Just don't leave them out, because listen, at times they're going through so much and they may not say at the time, but you just have to dig them just to hear what they have to say. So just be there for them.